Now, some of you might be wondering why the sump is back off the car. Well, when I went to put the dipstick in, guess which dipstick didn't drill a hole for the dipstick. So here's the windrush tray that I'm going to fit. There's a hole for the dipstick. And there's no hole for the dipstick. So some had to come back off so I could drill a hole for the dipstick. But hey ho. So what I'm also going to fit is a windrush tray. Now this is a windrush tray, pretty common. They're off the Mk2 Golf diesel caddies. Pretty much what it does, when the crank is spinning round, the air that's caused from the crank spinning round literally draws the oil away, like the old make-believe story of Jesus parting the seas or whatnot. It will do that in the sump. So what the windridge tray does is stop that. So the crank is spinning round, and because of this tray, it doesn't allow the oil to be drawn away from the oil pickup, because what it will do is if the oil is drawn away from the centre there, the oil pickup can't pick it up. So these are cheap as chips, 20 quid I think it was. I sort of wasn't going to fit one, but then I was like, well, I might as well actually do it. And then when I realised I didn't drill a hole for the dipstick, I thought, well, okay, if it's coming off, then it's going on. So I'll get a hole drilled for this, clean all the sump out again, then I'll soak all the sump, get an oily rag again, wipe it all over the sump, just so no rust forms in there. So there, first mistake, but better lie find it now than fill it with oil and realise the dipstick didn't fit in there. Well, there we go, we have a hole. So drilled a hole in it. Looks like a big peanut. Put the sump back on there. Fits nice and cool. I've just soaked all that in oil, just with a rag, anything really. I just use a bit of 3-in-1 oil. Lobbed it all over there just so it inhibits any rust forming on it. So get the tray on there, get the sump fitted back on, and hopefully that'll be finished. Well, that's the windrush tray installed. You do have to remove the oil pickup, and then you sort of got to have you've got to wiggle it around the pump. Fits on nice, looking pretty good. So now let's get the sump on. Here we are, looking at my lovely engine. So going off the last video, we've got hose pipes on and the clamps from Type 19. I have got another one of those clips from Bren at Dubstock, because there should have been 2 on here and I only had 1. I've resprayed that silver just to match in. I've also those 2 clips there, spring clips. They're the ones that have been soaked in the apple cider vinegar. Clean them up, rub them down, priming a bit of silver paint and lacquer, so they're on there. Inlet manifold gaskets on, inlet rock covers on, top manifold is on. Gaskets been made for that. Just made it myself, trimmed it off, cut it nice. We've got pulleys on, water pump pulleys, both of those have been cleaned up. They're all on there, nice and tidy. You've also got around the back, exhaust manifold is on. Now you can see from one of the pictures of the gaskets, I've had to trim all the gaskets so they fit, and you'll see the difference in size between the standard and the original. Standard the ones I've used. So that's one thing to be cautious of when you're changing a manifold or you're putting a 4-branch on or whatnot. Standard gaskets, if you've had port work and you're putting a 4-branch on, make sure the gaskets actually match your ports, otherwise you'll just throw away brake horsepower straight away. So that's all on there, new studs on there. That's on there. Nice, keeping up with the OEM look. What else we done? I've got gaskets and seals and stuff coming from the injectors and seats, so hopefully they'll go in soon. And I have been up with some welding. Now, this is my downpop I'm making. This is what the standard one. Now, as you can see from the standard one, that's your standard. This is off a Mk2 Golf, but the 16 valve Mk2 is the same. Now you've got the ring. You can just see the ring there. That's the gasket, standard gasket seal, which is 51mm, and then this goes down onto 41mm inside downward pipes. What you have got is 35mm inside. Where this dips in, where you've got the factory bellows, that's actually 35mm in there. So you're going from into there to 35, then back to the 41 pipe. So obviously I ported mine out to match the manifold. I have just welded some flexes into there, so it's gone 51. I've got some flexes on there which drops onto that pipe. It's not the prettiest, but function over 4 in a minute. You can just see the pipes in there where it sit inside. There's not too much, zoom in, there's not too much interference there, and I have got the die grinder and just put a nice sharp edge on the pipes just to aid flow through it. Yeah, I could have bought something off the shelf that's probably better, blah blah blah, but this is how I'm doing it. That should flow better than the standard one and match up with what I've reworked on my manifold. So it looks like a cast manifold, but it's been reworked inside and the ports and that side. So once that's on, just the end the paint goes there. I'll cut that off, another bit of flexi pipe, and then about ½ meter of plain steel pipe ready to, when it goes in, I'll put ½ meter on there roughly. So when it's under the car, that'll probably be too long, but it gives me the option of to cut a bit off to mate and sleeve it to the track slag system. I'm also going to weld in a Lambda bung on there as well, just so I can have an AFR gauge, air fuel ratio gauge on it. Just so because obviously I'll tweak the fuel in, so just so I can keep an eye on what the air fuel ratios are doing while I'm sort of testing it before it goes rolling road setup, because I don't want it to be running rich as hell and give myself ball wash and destroy an engine. So that's going to go in there. Can't see much of the car, but I've done drive shafts are in. Just need to get the inner CV boots attached on. That's my little MIG welder I'm using. Nothing special. Like I said, the manifold's probably cost me. That manifold was 30 quid. The flange off there. And if you're immature like me, you've just giggled because I said flange. But the flange off there was off my original downpipe that I've obviously ported out to make fit. Consumables, you're probably looking 60 quid maybe for all those parts. The flexes and the extra bit of tube and the consumables to make that downpipe, and including the manifold and the studs and the gasket. So that's like 60 quid is nothing compared to what you could get. It will all flow better than the standard 16 valve pipe. Whether it flows better than the 4-branch, I don't know, but I know that fits, but that will fit properly. Will look OEM, which is look I'm going for, and it's a fifth of the price, if not more. So the only decent 4-branches you can get at the moment, I believe, are TSR's ones that actually fit properly. Well, they're not TSR's, they're made by Miltech, and they're the best part of 400 quid. I had to take the sump off as well. I can't remember now. I'll tell you anyway and put the videos in if I haven't, but when I put the sump on, everything on, I went to put the dipstick in, and it went in so far and went ding. And I was looking through some pictures of sump baffles, etc., and I forgot to drill a hole in my baffle plate, so I had to drop the sump off again. But as I did that, I put the window tray in there, sealed all that back up. That's all good to go. So we haven't done a massive amount, but we're waiting on what we're waiting on. A couple of bits of injectors, take injectors and go in. Once they're in there, then it's going to be vernier pulley for that, cam bout, all this side can go on. My flywheel is going to go away to Rob Walker Engineering to be lightened and balanced, but before that I need to buy a clutch, and I'm not going to go anything silly uprated because I don't think there's any point in it. And obviously the research I've done on forums, etc., is a lot of people with this kind of setup and power are running standard clutches with no problem. So I'm just going to buy this Sash clutch, good brand clutch, 115 quid I think. So once I've got that, I can send the pressure plate and that flywheel itself off to Rob Walker. He'll lighten that and then balance that with my pressure plate, and then the clutch can go on. Then it's engine mounts in the engine bay, 2 power steering hoses I need to double check, and then it's going to be time to get the engine dropped back in there. So there's not much going on, but we're doing bits here and there. Downpipe should be done the rest of this month. Yeah, not a massive amount to update you on, but we've been busy other things. The Mark 5 Golf is eating my money up because it's MOT time and that needs some tweaks. Yeah, that's the other side of it. That's just masking tape on it. See, the welds don't look beautiful. Probably quite terrible to be honest, but function over form. It works. So That's all we've got to update you on. I'll stick some pictures up. Cheers for watching.